up, guys? I wanted to let everybody know kind of how my load was going this week. This is the week after New Year's. The week of New Year's, New Year's and Christmas, my company was keeping me close by, so I wasn't out in Texas over New Year's or Christmas or any of that. They wanted to make sure I was home. They're keeping me close by. The Thursday before New Year's, Thursday evening, I was given a load for Woodbridge, New Jersey. So I left PA Friday morning, went out to Woodbridge, New Jersey. I dropped my load of pipe. On my way back, I stopped in Myerstown, PA. I picked up a load of shingles. And I wasn't able to deliver the shingles until the next week. Now, I was supposed to be dispatched for Texas that week. I was trying to deliver them on Saturday, but I called the company and nobody was there to receive the shingles on Saturday. I don't even know if anybody was there in the store, but they're normally open Saturday, but New Year's might have affected that. So I wanted to deliver on Monday, but Monday was New Year's Day, so obviously they were closed. I had to deliver them Tuesday morning. Luckily, it was only an hour and a half away from the yard where I parked the truck, from the company's terminal. So I went to work Tuesday rather. I went out, I dropped the load of shingles, I came back, and I got loaded up for Texas. Now, my load for Texas had to be out of the shipper the week before. So my company sent a yard guy to the shipper, which is 1 mile down the road from the yard. They sent a yard guy over there, they loaded it up, threw some straps over, brought it back to our terminal. We unloaded it there, set it down, and when I was ready for it, it was sitting there waiting on me. So I came back, I loaded it, strapped it, tarped it, pulled into the fuel bay, fueled up my truck. I was ready to go. I was going to make it to Kentucky that night, which I normally stop in Kentucky, and then I go from Kentucky to our yard in Little Rock. I fuel up using their fuel, so I don't have to pull into a truck stop and use the company's account and all that. I go to the yard in Little Rock, I use their fuel, then I make it, usually I'll make it down almost to Houston, Texas, where my drop is. Sometimes I get a little bit north of there. I either make the Nacogdoches or North Cleveland, Texas, which is North Cleveland's only an hour away, which isn't bad. After I fueled up in Pennsylvania at the terminal, and was ready to leave, I said, "Say a command." Oh, shut up. I said, okay, I'm gonna go over to the scale that we have at the yard, and I'm gonna scale out my load, so I know if I'm overweight, I know what my weight is, all of that, so I know if I come to a weigh station, I won't have any problems. Well, I was 81,220 pounds, or something like that, or 81,060, which is a problem. I'm overweight. Now, I have an APU on my truck, auxiliary power unit. It's a generator that you can heat or cool the cab with if the truck engine is off. Runs off of diesel fuel. Most states will give you a 400-pound exemption if you have an APU. So if you're 80,400 pounds, most states will say, okay, you're fine, you have an APU, go ahead. Some states give you 550-pound exemption. Some states give you nothing. Kentucky, which is one of the states we drive through, gives you nothing. So I had to be 80,000 even or under. So I pulled into the mechanics bay, talked to the shop, talked to the truck boss. I'm like, hey man, I'm overweight. I don't know what to do. I talked to the company owner and dispatch, and they said, they told me go to the mechanic. I'm like, okay, I don't know what the mechanic's gonna do. Turns out I had to take my spare tire off. I had to take all of my spare dunnage off, which, if you don't know what dunnage is, that is the lumber that goes underneath or in between layers of pipe or whatever cargo you're hauling. It keeps the lumber, or it keeps your cargo or your freight separated so you can get forks under it and unload it easily. I had to lose spare tire, the dunnage. I had to lose 5 chains and 5 binders, and I had to lose 1 whole tank of fuel, which was great. We siphoned out the 1 tank. I ran half a tank, or half tanks at a time. I ran 150 gallons at a time. I have dual 150 gallon tanks. So I ran 150 gallons at a time. You don't get very far on half tanks at a time. So I had to stop 3 times on my way to Houston and fuel up. Twice at a truck stop using the company account. Once was at the yard in Little Rock. Now, I had to go from Little Rock, Arkansas down to Houston, unload, pick up my return load or my backhaul, and then make it back to Little Rock with only half tanks of fuel, which was miserable. I couldn't make it. I had to pull into a truck stop and I had to pay for fuel out of my pocket, which the company will reimburse me, so that's not a big deal. I had to put $115 worth of fuel in this truck just to make it to the yard in Little Rock so I could fuel up again. Now, my return load was a little heavy, but just a little bit. I went ahead and fueled up. I didn't hit 1 weigh station on the way back, which is good because I didn't know how heavy I was. I never thought to go across the scale at a truck stop. The shipper didn't have a scale, but I can tell when my load is, you know, about 1,000 pounds overweight or something, and just by the way the truck pulls it. I call it my seat O pantsometer. I didn't feel that it was overweight. I could tell it was heavy, but I didn't feel that it was overweight. So I took it. I didn't go across the scale. I fueled up. It pulled a little bit different when I fueled up, but I also added, you know, 1,500 to 2,000 pounds of fuel after I fueled up. So it's going to pull a little bit different, but I was all right. I didn't hit a single scale. That part was a mess right there, and that part was a mess. So my return load, when I went to go pick that up, speaking of, I didn't mention this, I didn't leave until 2:30 on Tuesday to drive to Texas, unload, get a return load, and drive back. That typically takes 5 days. 2 days down, 1 day unloading and loading, 2 days back. This is my 6th day, because I have to deliver my return load too. And when I went to pick up the return load, my appointment was at 11 o'clock a.m. I got there at 11 o'clock, or no, I got there at 10 o'clock as my dispatcher instructed me. I got there at 10 o'clock. There was another driver with our company that was there about an hour earlier than I was. I was unloaded first. I don't know why he got the earlier load time, but whatever. It is what it is. He was out of there in 2 hours, tops. An hour and a half, maybe. I sat there from 10 o'clock, and I didn't leave Boomerang Tube in Liberty, Texas until 6:30 p.m. Yeah. I was on track to make it back to Little Rock that day, but I sat there so long I didn't have the hours. I couldn't do it. So I am 8 hours behind on my entire trip now, which, you know, it is what it is, I guess. Things happen in the trucking industry. You can't plan anything, because as soon as you plan something, something else happens and screws it all up. I'm aware of that. I'm always prepared for that. That's why I don't plan my trip like most people do. Most people plan their trip. I'm gonna leave here at this time. I'm gonna stop here for my half-hour break. I'm gonna stop to pee twice. That's gonna add a total of an hour. Because normally each time you stop to pee, or what, you pull into a rest area, by the time you commit to stopping, by the time you start slowing down, you pull in, you park, you go in, you go to the bathroom, you get back in the truck and you get up to speed, you just burnt 10 to 15 minutes. So I account for 15 minutes on every stop. I account for 15 minutes every stop. Normally I'll stop once, stop again for my half-hour break, maybe stop a third time before I park for the night. But this time I had to fuel a bunch, so I stopped a lot more than I wanted to. But I was on track to make it from my return load shipper back to Little Rock, Arkansas, same day. I was going to sleep at our terminal in Little Rock, get up, go from there. I was going to make it to Calvert City, Kentucky on Saturday. Yeah, I was going to make it to Calvert City, Kentucky on Saturday. Still made it there on Saturday, I think. Let's see, I left Liberty, Texas on a Friday. Friday night I was in Nacogdoches. Went from Nacogdoches up to Little Rock, and then to Saturday morning I left Nacogdoches and went to Little Rock. So yeah, I still made it, but I was on track to make it earlier, which means the earlier I get there, the earlier I can get up and drive the next day. And I have a load going from Liberty, Texas to Steubenville, or Stupidville as I call it, Ohio, that has to be delivered by 11 a.m. Monday. It is currently 9:25. I'm on my way there. I'm only 12 minutes away, so I'm not worried. The traffic, I don't know if I can flip this around while I'm taking a video. No, I can't. The traffic is terrible. The traffic itself isn't bad, but it's 9:30. Why isn't the road plowed? Like, we're paying for this with our taxes, and they're not plowing the roads. I don't get it. I know that the area that I'm in is a low-income area. They don't have a lot of equipment. There's a small population. They probably don't maintain the roads like other cities or towns do. I get that, but come on, dude. It's 9:25 a.m. Plow the road. It's not hard. If you don't want to do it, pay me to do it. I'll do it. So yeah, this whole trip was just a mess. And on top of that, my check engine light came on in the truck. I have two codes. When I filled the truck up with DEF, I'm thinking the DEF was watered down. I filled it up at our yard in Little Rock, so it shouldn't be, because only our company uses that fuel. So our company doesn't have a problem paying for fuel if our company uses it, and only our company. But they buy Blue Def, the brand Blue Def, and it's blue. I don't know if maybe the tote that it was in, like one of them big water totes with the cage around it, I don't know if maybe that was foggy or something, or if the DEF was watered down, because it looked kind of gray. My check engine light came on. I have two codes. Truck's running okay. It's burning a little more fuel than I care to speak of, though. Might just be the winter blend fuel or whatever they do, the anti-gel to keep it from gelling up. Which, speaking of, I idled the truck all night when I was in Kentucky after my check engine light came on. I idled the truck all night because it was going to get pretty chilly I'm like, you know, I really don't want to wake up in the morning and have to pull these fuel filters out and change them. So I figured if I let the truck idle, the heat from the engine will keep the fuel moving, or the engine running will keep the fuel moving, so it won't gel, and the heat from the engine will keep the fuel filter and the fuel in the fuel conditioning module on the side of the engine warm, so it won't gel. Well, I woke up and I went to leave.
Say a command.
Oh, shut up. And the fuel filter gauge, I have a gauge that says 0, 5, 10, 15, 20 for the fuel filter restriction. It was at 15 and the dummy light was on. I don't know why. I had full, or 3/4 tanks of fuel. Like, I don't get it. It's not like I, you know, sucked up some water or something and ruined the fuel filters, but as I kept driving, it progressively got a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher, and I was losing power going up hills in Kentucky. So I figured, okay, it's time for my half-hour break. I have fuel filters. I'm gonna pull over into the rest area, take my break, go to the bathroom, make a sandwich, eat something, and change my fuel filters. That didn't happen. Apparently, whoever changed these fuel filters last must have been the Incredible Hulk. I have a big crescent wrench. The fuel filter has a plastic cap over it. It's like it's a cartridge style filter, not a screw-on canister. It has that, you know, plastic type cap on it with the nut on top. I put the crescent wrench on it, got it as tight as I could on it, tugged on it, tugged on it, tugged on it, and the crescent wrench actually spread apart and spun around the nut onto the next set of flats. Both filters did that, so I didn't get to change them. The dummy light's off, but while I had the truck off and sitting still while I was trying to change the fuel filters and I was taking my break and whatnot, the fuel filter restriction went down. I don't know if maybe there was something in the line that it sucked into the module, and when I shut the engine off, it quit sucking fuel and it let whatever was in it fall off the filter into the bottom of the module. Maybe, I don't know, but I'm almost up at 15 again, so I'll have to get it back to the shop, and which I'm only about 2 hours from the shop. I'm gonna drop this off. It's supposed to be an hour and 20 minutes back to the shop. Given the way the roads are and the way everybody's driving, I'm probably going to take an hour and 45 minutes, unfortunately. But I'll make it back. Not a big deal. I'm alright on fuel. My fuel filters are alright. My DEF is fine. I'll make it back. Not a problem. Have them fix that. Have them check out the check engine light. Have them swap out my wipers too, because those suck. There's something else wrong with this truck that needed done too, but I don't remember what it was. Anyways, so yeah, my trip to Texas after New Year's was a mess. What a great way to start the new year off. If you have any interest in what I got to say, let me know. I guess I'll try and make some more of these. Comment, like, subscribe, share, whatever you want. Or if you want to comment and say you're an idiot, shut up, quit crying, whatever, that's fine too. I'll accept that. Anyways, just wanted to share that with everybody. Have a wonderful day, and I hope your new year started off better than mine did. Keep the shiny side up and the dirty side down. I'll catch y'all later.